In episode P3, we finished welding up everything that's permanently attached to the Prelute. In this episode, we'll be talking about all the stuff that's not permanently attached. Now, the work in this episode corresponds roughly to November 2017, which is about when I started to panic about running out of time and skimped a little on video collection. So we'll be doing this episode a little differently. What you saw earlier were all the removable bits of the truck bed, and we're going to talk about how I built each of these bits and how they assemble to the car. But before that, let's talk about the truck bed floor, which is made from 80-20 aluminum channel, the staple of quick and dirty structures. These are extrusions with channels that accept sliding nuts, which makes it really easy to build and adjust structural frames. In a stroke of sheer luck, I found that 40mm tall channels could rest on the areas around the fuel pump and end up being the same height as the original trunk floor. So all I had to do was weld mounting tabs on the cabin ladder frame to attach the forward end of the floor and add some legs at the rear to rest in the spare tire floor. The flexibility of this setup came into play 1 year later when I trimmed the original frame and added on a new U-shaped subframe to recess mount the Endo-CVT air tank directly to nuts in the channels without having to build a mounting plate. The next part is the elephant in the room. Now, this might be disappointing to some of you, but in the context of the time crunch, making a functional tailgate would have been pretty involved because it would have meant cutting through the body and the taillights, which would mean I would have to do custom taillights and a lot more bracing across the body. So I opted to make a static tailgate instead, with good intentions to make a real one in the event anyone rear-ended me. Looking at the tailgate itself, everything behind this line is the original trunk, whereas everything in front of this line is fresh sheet metal, with this being the rear wall of the new bed, and this flange here being the part that screws into the bed floor. As with other parts of the bed, the rear wall was made with the help of a mat board template, which was trimmed to shape and then traced onto steel sheet. And this here is one of the two rear quarter closeout panels. Pretty simple, just a single steel sheet with a 90-degree bend, and some rift nuts in the back for installing the tailgate. This is made as a separate piece so that installing the tailgate would be easier and to retain access to the taillights. To assemble the tailgate, first I install the closeout panels, then drop the tailgate into place and screw it down with 8 screws. 2 additional steel straps join the tailgate to the sides of the bed. For the bed floor, I used 1/8-inch diamond plate for a little bit of bling. It's all cut from a single sheet, but the 2 forward corners are separate and are inserted from within the cabin. The main sheet drops in at the rear and flips down into place before being screwed down to the floor frame. And as for the wheel arches, I smoothed out the sheet metal and skinned them in carbon fiber to tie in with a future carbon fiber wrap on the hood. This lends an organic look to the arches and preserves access to the shop towers. The final functional touches in the bed are the dual Yakima fork mounts above the window, which are bolted through the structural frame and allow me to carry 2 full-size bikes. They were meant to be mounted below the window until I realized that my bed was too short to fit a bike that way. But all said and done, I think it makes the whole thing look way cooler with the handlebars peeking up over the roof. Right now, the rear window is just a piece of laser-cut acrylic that I installed early on just so that I could drive on a winter's night without freezing off my right ear and my elbow. It's actually peppered with scratches and pits from grinding and spray painting, and I'm not proud of the way I mounted it, so I'll be talking about the new and improved window in the next episode, along with the rest of my efforts to put an extra bit of shine on the car for SEMA. My last local show happens tomorrow in San Jose, and then it's just 4 weeks to prep the car for SEMA with 1 more video in the works. If you haven't already, do check out the rest of the videos that have led up to this point, and hit that subscribe button to follow me on the home stretch to SEMA. Till then, this is Deviant Customs, over and out.